Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today is June 4th, and we're doing business and social story. No, it's not social. You said social. You lied to me. It's security.
Oh.
We did social on Monday.
Well, you got the... I didn't want you to go a whole week, get them all right.
Yeah, you gotta mess it up. So if you have the bingo card, you can mark that as one of the things that's crossed off now.
You can also put this on your bingo card because you know we like to do these first on business day.
Business Insider lays off 21% of staff, citing a traffic sensitivity. No one is going to the Business Insider website. You know what they're doing? They're asking ChatGPT. It's like, hey, the earnings calls just happened for a bunch of companies. Can you summarize all that? And then it just hallucinates whatever the heck it wants.
I'll tell you the real reason, Business Insider, because I do see a lot of your links and I never click on them. You know why? Overly aggressive paywall. Can't even see the headline. I'm never going to do it. There's too many alternatives.
We don't include your links anymore, even for our show.
And they
too many alternatives, including Claude and ChatGPT.
Like,
what's going on
Google.
with Business Insider this week, ChatGPT? Oh, let me tell you.
And they are not the only ones that were doing a little cutting this week.
IBM joins the Layoff Express by firing about 8,000 staff. HR department affected the most.
Was this article written by AI? It felt a little written by AI.
There's some terrible writing. Have you noticed the decline in the quality of the writing?
Yes.
There was one from The Verge. I got to try to remember to point it out. And I looked the guy up. He's a co-founder. Man can't string a sentence together.
I'm assuming it's just people, nobody's editing or proofreading anything. It's just whatever. We got to get it out now. There's no time to do it right.
I gave it to the AI and I was like, AI, fix this sentence. And it was like, oh, this is terrible. Like, he could have done that. But maybe they are not, maybe that's not the problem. Maybe they're just doing too much, right? Like, one employee is using AI to write 1 million articles. And that seems to be what's going on over at Amazon.
At Amazon, some coders say their jobs have begun to resemble warehouse work.
They got a great picture here.
That's what it feels like, doesn't it, sometimes?
So this person sort of wondered out loud to the interviewer. It's like, is this what it feels like to work in the warehouse? And they sort of ran with that as the headline. But really what they were talking about was that Amazon gives them so many automation tools and AI stuff that they're having to juggle a lot more than they used to previously.
And they've cut all the other jobs.
Yeah.
So you're doing the work of, ever how many people with your AI buddy. And Microsoft is going to make sure that your AI buddy has access to all the things that it needs so that this can go further.
MCP will be built into Windows to make it an agentic OS, but security will be a key concern. MCP is Model Context Protocol. This is hooks and hints in the operating system to let an AI know what's going on screen and have some inherent context on the screen because it can't do it quite as easily visually as you and I can.
And it turns everything into, I think, JSON, right? So that you can pass the code back and forth without any of the fluff.
Well, there's a JSON version and there's a binary version that's faster. I worry about the JSON version because it's you and I won't be able to read that.
So it does. The models do tend to put unnecessary stuff in there with the code, so that's kind of nice.
I also love how this article is like, now Microsoft's got a big focus on security, and every time they said something like that, I was like, yeah, because Microsoft has such an amazing security track record.
But that was Microsoft saying that.
Yeah.
And that they said that, but then the author pointed out that maybe they didn't have quite that emphasis on security because they had skipped all these different things that you would normally do.
Yeah.
And the one pinnacle of fairness and justice, the one man left in the big tech is Gabe Newell, and he continues to just give selflessly.
Valve adds SteamOS support for its Steam Deck rivals, meaning that if you got the ROG Ally or the MSI Claw, you can start deploying SteamOS to that and get rid of the jank that is Windows on those devices.
We should just give the Penguin the beard and glasses, right? Because he's single-handedly going to move it more than any human in history.
He really has. Like, there's a guide that I wrote on the forum if you're looking to take the plunge, and it's a pretty good out-of-box experience with Steam as well.
And pirating sporting events. Now, we're not sports fans here, so I don't know about it, but there have been a couple of high-profile UFC fights that I've been interested in, and it is laughably easy to find some sort of broadcast of that. That seems to be especially true for these soccer tournaments that they have in Europe, and boy, do they hate it.
Cloudflare CEO says that football piracy blocks are going to claim lives. I pray no one dies. And this is because the ISPs in these countries have gotten so insane with their rulings that it's blocking Cloudflare infrastructure. And, guess what? 911 responders, hospitals, people like that also use Cloudflare infrastructure. And so when they block Cloudflare, they're blocking everything.
And maybe 5-6 years ago, the idea of these companies being able to meddle in DNS was unthinkable. It's like, what? No, we're not going to let them change DNS. Are you insane? And now it's just commonplace. Like, that's the thing that they think has to be done.
This level of infrastructure meddling is almost like we need to systematically turn off electricity to the various blocks of the city.
Because we don't want people to see a football game.
Which is what they're doing in the more totalitarian countries. Like, there's an
it's
election,
insane.
Turn the internet off and turn the power off until the right person is selected. But here are some numbers that might worry those European Cloudflare and the companies that are trying to get this shut down, because it seems to be pretty ubiquitous.
Pirate IPTV consumed by 30% of Swedes, including 50% of men under 35. Now, I would just pause for a second there, and it's like they're really, really reaching when they describe Pirate IPTV. Let me describe a scenario. It's like I and some other fans of Star Trek wanted to make fun of the latest episode of, let's say, Star Trek Discovery, and we were not all physically in the same place. The internet and IPTV affords us a really easy way to synchronize our streams so that we can all experience the horror together and with synchronicity.
Now, this is the results of a consumer survey, which means that it's self-reported, which means that anybody with a brain would lie about it or not participate in the survey. So the number is probably far higher.
Yeah.
But also, like, those kinds of things shouldn't necessarily be classified as piracy.
They need their money. And they need your money so that you can listen to music. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, isn't that free on YouTube? Yeah, it is. But you have to be careful how you access that.
The Ars Technica headline is Musi says that they have evidence that shows Apple conspired with the music industry on their App Store ban. So this is an app that would let you stream music from YouTube Music. They didn't host or do anything with the music themselves. And apparently they've got evidence that the music industry had YouTube complain on their behalf, and that's how the app got banned or something like that, and the app won't be reinstated. But there's a lawsuit, and there's a lot coming out in Discovery.
But the discovery was massive. Tens of thousands of emails and pages, and basically just garbage, none of which actually got to the cut to the heart of the matter.
Yeah.
But another email surfaced later from Sony. And Sony was like, we have to do something about this. And they did.
Now, before you get your, there are people that are commenting that's like, yeah, I don't see a problem with this. Think about this from a web browser standpoint. What if YouTube controls the web browser, which lets you experience YouTube? That's not a lot different than what was going on here.
You just go back one story.
Yeah, I'm trying to find...
Dead air.
Never mind. Sorry, I really want to talk about that bad grammar.
Wasn't that Verge story?
Here's some good news.
Is it?
Yeah, there's a new fake currency.
Yay.
And you can get it. Now, you don't have to buy it, though. The good thing about it is you can go on, what do they call them? Promotional quests. Doesn't that sound like fun?
Boy.
Don't
Yeah.
you want to go on a promotional quest?
Discord's new currency pays users to interact with ads.
So you can get new frames and bling bloms for your profile on Discord. I don't want to pay for the bling bloms.
Well, who cares about those? The real joy is in the journey of a promotional
quest.
quest, which is watching a commercial and engaging with it.
I would love to go on a promotional quest from a plumbing glue company. It's like, oh, here is our pipe cleaner or glue cleaner, the solvent, and then the glue for gluing PVC pipe together. And it's like, oh yeah, let's talk about it's like, here we got the slow dry, we got the fast dry, we got the rain or shine.
Do you think that's a good use of their advertising dollars to put it on Discord?
No.
I mean, probably.
I think those products sell themselves because they're functional.
Yeah. Maybe an ad spot on HGTV before Discord.
We should run some ads for Big Cast Iron. It's like this is the only
Cast Iron.
the superior.
Is that like Lodge Cookware in Tennessee? Who do you get in contact with there?
The superior cookware instruments. We don't need any technology more advanced than cast iron. We've peaked.
Well, here is the so if you watched the previous episode and we talked about NVIDIA, they had some optimism when it came to China. And they're like, hey, we're going to build a whole new chip that gets around all these other sanctions. And it's finally, we're going to have a chip that China will be able to have. Well,
NVIDIA warns it may struggle to compete in China's AI market if restrictions persist, raising risk of a business foreclosure. Yes, this is probably going to happen.
that means writing off all of China. Just, we're done. All the work we've done doesn't matter. We can't make money here. We're out.
And yet, AI will continue to accelerate and innovate in China.
Meanwhile, at the Huawei office, everybody got to go home 30 minutes early. Unprecedented. Because that's going to be massive for them.
I actually did have a lot of fun. I went to the Xiaomi store, the forbidden store in Taiwan, and they had Huawei devices, and I got to look at like all their home goods and things like that. I bought a battery bank because forbidden technology. It was really exciting. They had a lot of good stuff.
Is it here with us right now?
Just the battery bank.
Well, a lot of those will not be making the trip because if they were installed in these products, it's over.
HP Incorporated hastens its China exit as tariffs kick a hole in their profits. They literally can't sell computers in China because guess what? They're probably made in China or India or the Philippines or Taiwan. And with the tariffs, it just doesn't make sense.
There's a lot of that going on. And one man who is very aware of this and very upset about it is this one.
This is an MSN write-up of Tim Cook's bad year just keeps getting worse. And it talks about a lot of unrelated things that are kind of related that are bad that have happened to Apple. Apple's AI stuff is terrible, but Apple's famous designer, Johnny Ive, is off with OpenAI now building AI devices that are probably going to be better than whatever Siri has. Apple put somebody else in charge of fixing their AI stuff. That person apparently has failed, and the AI situation is now worse. And then tariffs, and then phone assembly, and then products, and then people aren't upgrading as much. Yeah, Apple's not really doing super good.
VR.
The Texas story we just covered.
The Epic Games thing where Tim Sweeney has blown open the App Store, the 30% commission, and like their whole path to profitability there. Really, I would argue that that's Apple's fault for greed, but whatever.
Do you think the board is maybe thinking about a replacement?
I don't know, maybe. Some of those are bad luck, but some of those the board is probably indirectly responsible for just because of their unbridled greed.
Well, one thing you might be thinking about a replacement of is your phone. If you accidentally get it too close to what might soon be all cars.
Lidar can permanently damage your phone's camera. The Lidar laser will just blow out the pixels.
You'll have to buy a separate camera. Yay!
What is this doing to your retina?
It's probably fine.
about that.
You don't need your retinas. Those are important.
He got super close, and when he zoomed out, because the camera changes lenses when it zooms out, it wasn't affecting it anymore. So when he wasn't super close, it was okay. But that's a little worrying.
It destroyed the super close sensor in his phone, though.
That's permanent damage right there.
Yeah.
Those aren't going away.
But it was like, I've got Apple Care. I guess it's fine. It's like, is it though? Is it?
And phones, the foldable phone revolution never really hit. What's the new one going to be? We've heard that maybe the iPhone's doing an all-glass curved thing. I don't understand what that's going to be about. But we're kind of in a lull for phone innovation because nobody cares about phones right now. They care about something else.
Your phone's next big innovation is the Bixby button.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't use Bixby. I probably won't use this.
Well, you just hit the dedicated AI button and just talk to it.
That's another opportunity for me to accidentally press a button on my phone and it start monitoring me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, who wants that?
Remember Nextel? It's like Nextel had the walkie-talkie phones where you could set up a link with you and somebody else and you could just hit the button and it was like, doo-doo, and you could talk to them immediately. That was interesting.
Well, the solar maximum has apparently ended last year, right?
No, I think we're still in it.
Are we?
Yeah, we're still getting
Not according to New Scientist. They said it was in 2024. But either way, for a while, things were getting kind of spicy up there in the atmosphere and above it. And that might have had some impact on your favorite Starlink.
The sun is killing off SpaceX Starlink satellites. The sun is oppressive. I can definitely attest to that.
just in general.
But
it's the final boss.
It's apparently murdering the Starlink satellites longer than their model, or more quickly than their models predicted.
But if we're moving out of the maximum, they should have some. Although the timing of their launches may be not the best. And that's number one bad news for Elon Musk this week. Number two, a little more extreme.
Tesla sales cut in half in Europe, according to Newsweek. I saw some other reports that said it was cut by as much as 87%.
I think it depends on the country.
Yeah, the Germans were not happy.
Yeah, Germans hate them. But it's not just that they hate them and the political implications, but also BYD is moving into Europe.
Somebody on the Wall Street subreddit posted like BYD's like their investment and their capitalization and blah blah blah, and like how much it looked like Tesla, and it's like, but their market cap was like 187 billion as opposed to whatever Tesla's insane market cap was, and it's like, this is weird because these numbers look really similar, but one of these companies is vastly more valuable than the other one. That's weird.
But here's the thing. So Tesla is at a low point in terms of cash on hand, right? Because nobody's buying them and they've had some bad times. The amount of cash that they have on hand would be fine unless they get a massive, massive fine from like Europe. Why would that happen?
Tesla's Odometer lawsuit could be the EV industry's Dieselgate moment. So there's this class action lawsuit that's unfolding because somebody noticed that their car, they had a lemon Tesla basically, and they complained a lot, and it had to be in for service a lot. And they noticed that after it was in for service a lot, that the number of miles that it was registering between his house and his office had jumped from like 30 miles or 20 miles to 72. And he thought that was weird. And so when he looked into, okay, how does the Tesla do its odometer? It's coming out in this case. Apparently the Tesla doesn't measure wheel rotations. It just looks at your charge level and some other things, and that's how it counts a mile.
Which in itself, like, wouldn't we have standards to...
Yeah, the article points out that the odometer is supposed to be wheel rotations plus or minus 4%. And so, like, if Tesla's saying that they don't do that, then they're screwed.
He calculated his number at 117%. Now, if you apply Dieselgate type punishment in terms of fines for that, that would wipe out almost all of Tesla's cash on hand.
You got to admit, though, that's a pretty amazing way to get rid of it's like, oh, your warranty's 50,000 miles, but a mile's not a mile.
Amazing? Just cheating and lying?
I mean, it's amazing for Tesla. It's amazing. It's terrible for everybody else, but great for Tesla.
I guess technically, it's...
I just never would have thought to redefine a mile when
you wouldn't have thought to just lie and get away with it.
Well, you'll never be on Elon Musk's level. You got to think outside the box and the law. And Japan has single-handedly propped up physical media and a variety of other technological things that the rest of the world sort of casts away. But Japan's like, no, we keep it. We love it. We want it. But one might be dying.
Panasonic's new Let's Note laptops could be the final death knell for the humble VGA port. One of the last laptops to feature VGA. The new models don't have VGA anymore.
It's too fat.
It's a 40-year-old standard.
Oh, this is it. Yeah, so when we look at Neuralink and what's the other one? There was another one. I can't remember the name of it. Like, that seems so dystopian. How could we ever trust any human to run that kind of thing? Well, there might be one man. Maybe. I don't know.
I wouldn't trust this.
Even I don't know if we can trust him with it. But if there was one man.
Valve CEO Gabe Newell's Neuralink competitor is expecting its first brain chip this year. And it's called like Starfish something or other. Starfish something. So they're using a relatively small number of sensors, and it's a relatively low clock speed.
Here's why I wouldn't trust it, because eventually Gabe Newell dies. And then that company gets sold for parts, including the thing that's trapped in my head.
Starfish Neuroscience.
Okay, let's read this sentence.
Oh, that's hard. Valve co-founder and CEO Gabe Newell, the company behind Half-Life and Dota 2 and Counter-Strike, and preeminent PC game distribution platform Steam. I'm gonna have an aneurysm. Had long toyed with the idea that your brain should be more connected to your PC It began over a decade ago with in-house psychologists studying people's biological responsiveness to video games. Valve once considered earlobe monitors for its first VR headset.
And this man can't use commas. Come on.
Or just, at that point, if you're going to put all of the little things, you need to put it just in parentheses, right? Like, let me just skip right over that if I'm a reader. I know who Valve is.
And all of our data is being hoovered up. The bad thing about that, or the worst thing about that, is it's being collected and stored and sold back to everybody, the government or whoever wants to advertise to you or whatever. But the worst thing is that once you do that, you can't protect it.
Data broker giant LexisNexis says breach exposed personal information of over 364,000 people.
I think, was this the one that was like gigabytes?
Mm-hmm.
364,000 people.
But a lot of information.
That's a lot of data. Because like 250,000, if you just got a CSV of, like a couple of hundred columns, what's that, 150 megabytes?
Not even.
Something like that. How many columns do they have?
They've got the full driving records of some people, probably. I don't know. We know that car insurers were sending that to LexisNexis because, okay.
Because apparently we can just do that. We just send everybody's data around.
Yeah.
Insecure.
So easy. And it's not just them. It's also anybody you do business with.
Adidas warns of a data breach after customer service provider hack. So if you've ever tried to get in touch with Adidas for warranty or customer service, sorry about your luck.
It's always that third party. And sometimes we know where the leaks happen, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes you just find it just out in the woods, just a big pile of logins.
Mysterious database of 184 million records exposes vast array of login credentials. Some of them worked, but some of them didn't. They were trying various sets of credentials, and some of it worked for people's Google accounts or their Meta accounts. Some of it didn't. So this is probably an assembly, an amalgamation of a bunch of other breaches and leaks.
This was just on an Elasticsearch that was unsecured, but we still don't know who did this. It was just out there. Someone found it, pointed it out, and no one knows where it came from. The best kind of leak. And if that's not enough data for you, well, they're coming up with new ways, new things to record and secure about your information at all times.
T-Mobile secretly records iPhone screens and claims it's being helpful.
Just like Microsoft.
And it's definitely secure because T-Mobile definitely has never stored your passwords as plain text. Oh, wait. Yeah, they have.
So this is the T-Mobile T-Life app. I guess that gives you like an easy payment hub and advertises to you and so forth. I don't know why anybody would use that, but if you are using it, it's recording you.
For quality assurance purposes, I'm sure.
Definitely not selling the data, right?
Yeah. Oh, never. They would never do that.
And if you are still one of those people that's out there actually printing things, well, that industry is shrinking and they're trying to find new ways to make money, but they might be cutting a little too many corners.
Printer manufacturer infected customer PCs for months. It was a $6,000 custom screen printing printer, and apparently whoever writes their drivers was hacked and had malware bundled with the driver, including a cryptocurrency stealer. But by the time somebody noticed, the command and control servers were offline. But still worrying.
But how long? I mean, they were there for a reason, right?
Yeah.
We just didn't notice until now.
Yeah.
And this is a very expensive printer too, so you'd think they maybe take an extra step, but no, they didn't do that.
There's not enough people buying the printer to really properly deal with it.
And if you had, you're like, okay, we've checked off every possible thing that can be given to the government to identify us. Nope, you missed one.
Ugh.
Private sperm bank admits to giving sperm samples to the FBI without donor's knowledge, presumably related to cold case investigations.
They said it was for training purposes, so that they could properly simulate splash patterns. So I'm guessing that, unless I don't understand what some of those words apply to in that discipline, I'm guessing they were just like splashing it and then studying, kind of like blood spatter, right?
Oh, yeah.
Fabulous.
But why would you have to source that? Couldn't the agents just, make some?
Was that considered unprofessional? It was like, well, we should really outsource that.
Congratulations, we've added something new to the job description.
I mean, I could see, like, what if they ran that past HR and HR was like, hell no, you cannot do that. No, you have to acquire it elsewhere.
But the people here are very concerned because there's a lot of other stuff in there that's identifiable, and the FBI has it now. So that's definitely, the DNA is definitely on file now.
But more importantly now, Doge has it as well.
And Palantir.
Yeah. Fabulous.
And you might be thinking, well, they can be trusted with that because they would never abuse that for these kinds of things. I mean, reproductive health, they wouldn't meddle in that.
Texas police used a nationwide license plate reader network, Flock. They're talking about Flock, to track a woman who had self-managed abortion. They wanted to track her across state lines because that is the punitive, terrible data gathering world that we live in now.
Now, that's not what they said. They said, oh, no. We're not trying to capture her for being bad. We're worried that she might be bleeding out. We want to help her.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That sounds like a lie.
Yeah, we need to capture her to help. This is apparently some doctors who are, idealistic about this thing will send the medication across state lines, which is also illegal in Texas. I don't know how they figured out that she did that. Probably by monitoring everything that she does, right?
Yeah. Or just the mail, or like just anything. Yeah. I mean, there's 1,000 ways they could figure that out.
Her apps.
Yeah.
Don't
use a period tracking app. Just a reminder.
The only solution to this is to not build the thing that tracks the data. Like, you just have to not capture the data in the first place. Otherwise, imagine the worst person having access to the data.
The Palantir CEO?
Well, I mean,
some people who run Flock.
There are a lot of people that have the attitude is like, I've done nothing wrong. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you've done nothing wrong. Imagine the worst person that you've ever met trying to take your innocent actions out of context and turn them into something bad.
Oh, just another good day in the USA. Go subscribe to the other channels so you can hear more happy stories like this.
We got nonsense coming to make up for it. The nonsense this week will probably make up for a lot of it.
Hopefully.
Yeah, but we have to get through AI first, which gets a little dark.
There was a lot of AI at Computex, like a lot of AI, and it was interesting.
We'll see you guys. Bye.